Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. أشهد أن محمد رسول الله. أشهد أن محمد رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.
La ilaha illallah.
La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. لقد خلقنا إنسان في أحسن تقويم. العليم الحكيم. ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به عز وجل. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين من بعد. Dear brothers and sisters, lightly translated. Praise be to Allah, the Lord of all the worlds, the Lord of all the systems of knowledge, who created the human being in the best of stature. It is Allah who we ask for assistance, who is all-wise and all-knowing. It is Allah who we ask for assistance, who we put our trust in, the one who we ask for forgiveness, the one who is almighty and sublime. We witness that there is nothing that is deserving of our worship, our devotion, but Allah. And we witness that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, to whom the Quran was revealed to over a period of 23 years, is the Rasulullah, the messenger of Allah, and the Khatam al-Nabiyyin, the seal of Allah's prophets. We ask Allah to extend His countless blessings on Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, companions of Muhammad, the believing people throughout the world, and the Ummatul Islami, and that noble salutation that follows. Dear brothers and sisters, it gives me great honor to give you the best greeting on the best day, the day of Al-Jumah, the day in which Muhammad the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has said, is quoted in the Hadith literature, he has said that Ramadan is the best month, Laylatul Qadr is the best day, best night, but Al-Jumah is the best day, the sixth day. And if we follow that logic to its conclusion, using what the Prophet has given us, we know that Ramadan is 30 days, 28 to 30 days out of the year. And we know that Laylatul Qadr is only one night out of the year. But the Ramadan is 52 times out of the year. And so Allah even shows us, He says, leave off everything in the Quran. And He says, leave off everything and hasten earnestly to hear the word of Allah, and then disperse and seek the bounties of Allah after hearing the word of Allah. So we thank Allah for allowing us to get here on this day, the day of Al-Jum'ah. And we ask Him to bless those whose intent was to get here and they weren't able to get here, because as we know, as Muhammad the Prophet has given us, prayers and peace be upon him, matters are judged by intentions. So dear brothers and sisters, we give praise to Allah who embraces all of creation with mercy and with knowledge and without any type of discrimination. He is the one who gives without asking. Before anything else existed, Allah was there. Nothing comes into being without the order, power, permission, and will of Allah. Everything, whether small or great, good or evil, beneficial, harmful, true or false, known or unknown to you and I, sinful or virtuous, only occurs by Allah's leave. Whatever Allah wills comes into being, and what He does not will never ever exist. There is nothing like Allah. He is not a man, He is not a woman. He is Allah, the creator of the seen and the unseen. He is free from change, resting all limitations of time and space, and He does not increase, nor does He diminish. He is now as He has always been. He is the creator of heaven and earth and all of the creation. Surely Allah is closer to you and I than our own jugular veins. Surely, dear brothers and sisters, we give praise to Allah, the one with complete authority and has rights over all of us and what He has created. His creation is in His charge. His worlds, His heavens, His earth, all depend upon Him. He is bigger than all things taken together. He is the one who possesses first rights. Before anything else existed, He was. All existence is because of Him. He has designed the course and the behavior for all matter in the universe, including the course and behavior for the human life on this earth. And He has created every one of us with a human soul that is sensitive to what it will take to life and honor and what it will take to shame and death. Nothing is in Allah, nor can He be contained. He expresses His existence through all of His creatures. Alhamdulillah. Praise be to Allah, dear brothers and sisters. We want to begin today and not hold you long, which is my tradition, not hold you long. The title of our khutbah today is, In Definition, There is Direction. In definition, there is direction. And I think it is appropriate to begin with, what is definition? Well, definition is a statement that expresses the essential nature of something. And what is direction? Direction is guidance or supervision of action or conduct, assistance in pointing out the proper route or the proper direction. So in the Quran, as we very well know, as Muhammad the Prophet, prayers and peace be upon him, had pondered the fate of a group of people who were steeped in ignorance, who had taken on behaviors that are unimaginable. And so he would journey up and go into what we know now as Jabal Nur, the mountain of light. And he would go up and he would ponder and he would question. And this very night, as we know as Laylatul Qadr, the angel Jibril came to him and said, Iqra. He said, I can't. He said, Iqra. He said, I can't. And he pressed up on him and he grabbed him. And he said, Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq. Khalaqa insana min alaq. Iqra rabbu aqra'am alamu bil qalam alamu insana ma lam yulham. Now, he said, read in the name of your Lord. Rabb. Read in the name of your Lord, who creates. Now, this was strange to Muhammad the Prophet, because this word Rabb he had never heard before. In definition is direction. Read in the name of your Lord. Khalaqa insana min alaq, who created from a clot adhering. Proclaim, and your Lord is most bountiful. So this word Rabb, means nourisher, educator, sustainer. That which brings you, as Allah is explaining, from your lowest point to your highest point. Created the human being from a clot adhering. So that's the lowest point. Your Rabb takes you from your lowest point to your highest point. And physically he does that, but he also does that intellectually and spiritually. And so he says, the one who gives abundantly, Rabu Akram, who gives abundantly. And then he says, who taught the use of the pen. Who taught the use of the pen. So we just think that the pen is just to write a letter. No, the pen is used to capture the whole historical picture of creation. That's what the pen, Allah is alluding to. Kalam. And we know that that's the second surah in the Quran. Kalam. Read, write. So the direction that we're given to has to be education. Read, write. So it's incumbent on Muhammad, prayers and peace be upon him, to exhort the people to education. And then he says, who taught the human being what the human being knew not. Who taught the human being what the human being knew not. The human being, what is it that the human being didn't know? The human being didn't know himself. The human being didn't know himself, and the human being didn't know that which created him. So he says, read in the name of your Lord. Using those senses. The Prophet said, I can't read. But he could read. He could read. He could read into the universe. Allah later on tells him to travel through the earth and look into the creation. Look at everything that I have created and given inspiration to. And so he could read. He understood human nature. And as Allah was revealing it over 23 years, it became better and better and better in a certain situation and circumstance. And we know that this is a Meccan surah. And we know that Meccan surahs are designed to what? To define. قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدُ اللَّهُ الصَّمَدُ لَمْ يُلِدْ وَلَمْ يُولَدْ وَلَمْ يَكُنْ لَهُ كُفُوًا أَحَدٌ. Here Allah once again is defining. This is the most often surah, other than Al-Fatiha, that most of us probably recite. Say, Allah is one. Say Allah is one. Allah is one. Saying to Muhammad, say Allah is one. Allahu Samad, the all-knowing, who was not birthed, does not give birth. And there is nothing like the one. And that's not Yusuf Ali, but I think that that's a reputable translation of that. So we have to understand that Allah is defining and He gives direction in His definitions. So He, Allah, is one. There's nothing like the one. So Allah is defining to Muhammad and defining to us that He is giving us, so now we should follow in direction. The direction He's calling us to is on the Siratul Mustaqim. The Siratul Mustaqim, not the path like this, but the path that goes upright. Mustaqim, from the word kamma. In the Arabic language, the word kamma. It means upright, qiyam, mustaqim, taqweem. All of those things mean standing. Standing. The best position that you'll ever be in is not the one that you're in now, and is not in the position of sajda. Sajda is just the only time that the heart is above the head. But the best position is the standing position. Why? Because it's a balanced position. And it's the only time that you recite the Quran. Praise be to Allah. So dear brothers and sisters, we have to understand and define that Allah is the God of order, purpose, and design, and reason. Let me say that again, that Allah is the God of order, purpose, design, and reason. Praise be to Allah. The best teacher, the all-knowing, the all-seeing, the all-hearing, the one who takes you from your lowest point. It's a beautiful thing to see when a child is born. And the child evolves, and how the child evolves. Initially the child comes out of the womb. And in the Quran, Allah always alludes to hearing before everything else. And when the child is born, the child is blind, it can't see. But it can hear. You know it can hear. So in our tradition, what is the first thing that we do when the child is born? We say, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. right? In the child's right ear, and we say it in the left ear. So this is important for us to understand. And everything, all of your faculties go when the death angel comes for you, and the last thing that goes is hearing. The last thing that goes is hearing. Hearing. That's faculty, dear brothers and sisters. Iqra. Bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq. Read in the name of your Lord. Not just physically. Hearing comes from the heart. Just not the physical sight. The intuition that Allah has placed in you. All of the senses that He has given you. All of that is part of hearing that will help you to define your reality and to give you an idea and a concept of where you need to go to improve your individual self, but as Muslims to improve our collective self. In our way of life, there is no life if there is no collective life. So the community life supersedes that. And we know that by why? Because time doesn't begin in our way of life until after the Hijrah, because community life was being established after the Hijrah. But there was 13 years prior, but we don't time those. They're not on the clock. Praise be to Allah. Assalamu alaikum. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. Bismillah walhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu ala Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Dear brothers and sisters, once again, assalamu alaikum. For those of you who I'm not familiar with, my name is Imam Earl El Amin, and I'm from Baltimore, Maryland. I'm the resident imam at the Muslim Community Culture Center there in Baltimore. And let me, before I forget, at my old age, thank Imam Sharif for extending the invitation here to Masjid Muhammad. I'm not a stranger here, but I enjoy coming to be amongst you all the time. You know what they say, you're just a stone's throw away when you're in Baltimore. As a young man and a college student, many, many years ago, I'm not going to tell you when, but I'm going to tell you it's the early 70s. As a college student, I heard a definition of Islam. And the definition of Islam, I think, is appropriate for our time, space, reality. The definition that I was given of Islam is that Islam is freedom, justice, and equality. Let me say that again. The definition that I was given was that Islam is freedom, justice, and equality. How appropriate is that for this time that we're in right now? That Islam is freedom, the right to exercise choice. You achieve your maximum freedom when you put limits on yourself. Let me say that again. The right to exercise choice. Now, we live in a society that says just do it. Do your thing. Go ahead, you do whatever you want. That's the adversary that whispers into your heart. But as believing Muslims, we just can't do what we want. We have things that regulate our behavior. Things that put limits on our behavior that allows us to have the maximum of our freedom expression. So we have to have limits, but we are still free in our expression because Allah has given us those limits on the expression. And Allah is our creator, and Allah knows best. Knows what you know not. Justice. Justice. It's the highest quality of being fair with yourself and with everyone else. It's the strongest position that you will ever take in your life. Being just. Being just. It is the first principle in the social life. Justice is the first principle in the social life. That we have to be justice. Now, freedom and justice are married together. You can cut some of your freedom, but you can never, ever, ever cut justice. Justice remains all the time. Allah says He is the just, the most just. He is perfectly just. And it governs all of our relationships. You know, in the old civil rights movement, those who are old enough to remember that, what was the chant that they used to do? And I think they started doing with Ferguson and some of these other marches, that there was no justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. Where there is no justice, there can be no peace. Where there is no freedom, there can be no peace. Where there is no equality, there can be no peace. Islam is freedom, justice, and equality. And what do we say? Islam is peace, based upon freedom, justice, and equality. Not just based upon Assalamu alaikum, but based upon actions that are given for the human being to maximize the fullest of their expression. Freedom for the expression, justice for your expression, and equality. Having the same stature and rights. Having the same stature and rights. That's equality. Some of us come from places that we say they're Islamic countries, but there never was freedom, justice, and equality. I've been in countries where the minister, the interior minister comes in and he puts the khutbah and the imam gives the khutbah that week on what he says. That's not freedom. That's not justice. That's not even equality. So, dear brothers and sisters, in this environment, we have an opportunity to provide the best picture of al-Islam. Here, yeah, in the United States of America, where you can exhibit freedom, justice, and equality. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, no, America's not this, America's not that. Yeah, it's supposed to. See, you know, the shaitan, I say this all the time, the shaitan is a mercy in many instances. See, you don't know how strong you are until you go up against something. You don't know how strong you are until you get tested. And Allah even says that in the Quran. He said, do you not think that you will be tested on that which you say that you believe? That the test is coming for you? Yeah, I'm a Muslim. Okay, I'm going to see what you're working with. The shaitan is coming. Go ahead and do it. Go ahead and do it. Whispering into your heart. Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead. Don't worry about it. So we're going to be tested here. That's why you have to have community establishment. See, you're stronger when you're in community. Allah even shows you that even in the prayer, dear brothers and sisters. You want to see freedom? You want to see equality? Look at the salah. All of us are going in the same direction. We're shoulder to shoulder, we're toe to toe. And Allah shows you how merciful He is and how much freedom you have. So in your submission to your Lord and your Creator, no two people put their forehead in the same place. Going in the same direction, toe to toe, shoulder to shoulder, but none of us put our forehead in the same direction when we go down in the sajda. What is Allah showing us? He's showing us, He said, in community, I have allowed you to have your own expression in your submission to me. Praise be to Allah, dear brothers and sisters. You're free. Free for your expression. Praise be to Allah. This is very important. Our life is important. We are living in a critical period in human history, in the most diverse place in human history, the United States of America. And we have a unique opportunity to present to the world, to present to America, the most pristine way of life known to humankind, and that is al-Islam. But we can't do it individually. It only occurs when we do it collectively. Because the collective life is our responsibility to establish the life. Some of us come to Jumah. I say this all the time in Baltimore. Some of us put more emphasis on law and ritual than we do on the spirit of the life. Well, Muhammad the reason why Muhammad is the Khatim al-Nabiyun is because he is the seal. Why is Muhammad the seal? Because he was able to reconcile law and spirit and bring them together in his expression to show that the human being could reconcile and within law and spirit. What Moses represents law, Jesus represents spirit. Muhammad represents the best of the human being. Right? In the evolution of the prophecy, that's why he's the Khatam al-Nabiyin. He is the seal. As one brother used to tell me, he was a pioneer. He was able to bring the heaven and the sky together. The earth and the sky. Muhammad was able to bring the earth and the sky together. Make sense of your life. You know, we put so much emphasis on the ritual, the life of the ritual. You make 5 prayers a day. Let's follow this logic to its conclusion. You make 5 prayers a day, right? All of you. I see you. I see them all. So much emphasis on the salah. At most, if you make wudu and you make the salah, it's 12 minutes at the most. If you multiply 5 times 12, and I'm pretty good with math, that's 60. That means that 60 minutes out of a 24-hour day, that's how much you pray. So there must be something bigger than that. Because you only do that for 60 minutes out of the day. I'm going to give you 8 hours for sleeping. So that means 9 hours. That's 9 hours out of the day. Now my question to you is, what is it that you do to establish this life for the rest of those hours of the day? Ask yourself that question. See, the logic is, there's a logic to our way of life. And that's what we want to escape all the time. We want to get away from the logic of Al-Islam. Al-Islam is a logic to it. Allah just didn't give it for us to have spirit. Allah just didn't give it for us to have law. He gave it to us to have balance. وَكَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَكُمْ أُمَّةً وَسَطًا. I have created you a justly balanced community. Justly balanced community. Not too much law, not too much spirit. That's why you got 2 legs, 2 arms, 2 ears, 2 eyes, 2 noses. Balance. Balance. Praise be to Allah. This is a balanced community. So now we have the opportunity to show the world the balanced community. The balanced community in the arts, in the sciences, in the technology, in the theater. I know some of you don't like that. You don't want to. Most of you actors anyway. You come in here, alhamdulillah, mashallah, inshallah, and you get around the corner and you're a dag-blame fool. Act like a dag-blame fool. You come in here, you put on your holy face. I've been around a long time. I see it. Come here, alhamdulillah, mashallah, alhamdulillah. Arabonics, you don't know the language. I call it Arabonics. You know, using Arabonics, you don't know the language. Jazakallah khairan, akhi. You know what I'm talking about. You know, you can laugh in Islam. It's not this serious posture that we have about this way of life. You'll never make it through. Laughter is good for the soul. Humor is good for the soul. If you study Muhammad the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Prophet liked to laugh. He just didn't walk around all the time like this. That's the idea that the Western world has given you of religion. The Western world has given you an idea of religion, that all religion is that you have to talk soft, and you don't do this, and you don't do that. And the Muslim world bought it wholeheartedly after they became colonized. They bought into that. Before, the expression that the Muslim had, he was in the arts, the sciences. He was doing everything. He was bringing the world back to enlightenment. Now, our job right now is to bring the world back to enlightenment through a moral turpitude that only we can do. Yeah, they got the iPad and the iPhones, but we have to have a morality and a logic in our application to show the world you can have all of these things, but there are limits to the expression. Praise be to Allah. In definition, there is direction. So, dear brothers and sisters, we don't come to take up a lot of your time because your time is important. I understand and I read your newsletters because I like to find out what's going on all around. you all are having Sunday, or I think that in the very near future that AfricanAmericanAncestry.com is coming in to do the swabbing. I did that a couple years ago. My children, one of my sons, he's find out where you really come from. It was beautiful. I found out that my ancestors were Muslims from the west coast of Africa. You see? On both my mother and my father's side. So where's my cousin in here? My cousin is in here. My cousin is in here, so I'm telling you that now. I never told you that. So, and Imam came in from Baltimore. He broke tradition. What tradition? What tradition? Each and every people are given a collective fingerprint. Every people are given a collective fingerprint. And so when we go down in Sajda, like I said, where we place our forehead based on our social, historical, psychological experience might be a little different than a brother from Pakistan. Might be a little different from a brother from Turkey. Might be a little different from a brother from Bosnia. But the soul is the same. The expression is clean, is pure. Accentuate the best of the expression, dear brothers and sisters. Muhammad the Prophet didn't look at the negatives first. He always extrapolated the best of the human being. If there was something very small and the individual was a terrible human being, he would always say that individual is a good individual because he's done this. The Western world always calls you to focus on the negatives. If you study social work, and I'm a social worker by training, you find out why that was influenced like that. Can't say it over the rostrum. So, dear brothers and sisters, we have a task that Allah says we shall be victorious if we follow the prescription that He has given us. He has given us a definition, and He has given us the direction. The definition through the Quran. The direction is in the best human being, Muhammad the Prophet, prayers and peace be upon him, and all those people that are sincere. All of those brothers and sisters. In closing, I'd like to say this. It is quoted that Muhammad the Prophet, one of the things that we miss out on is that we don't influence the environments that we're in. I'm not talking about domination. The hurt Muslims, they want domination. They're angry. I understand. I don't agree with it, but I understand it. They want domination. They were colonized. You know, these young people, they were colonized. Their parents moved to Europe, and some parents moved to America, but they never practiced Islam. Parents didn't practice Islam. So someone came to them and said, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. Your great-grandfather was a great man in Islam. And they heap that guilt on them, and so they go from one extreme to the other. From not practicing, being part of the hip-hop culture, and now these are extreme Muslims. You see? Understand this. We've been given an opportunity to study this and see why people do what they do. Sometimes, you know, with your children and with your family, I don't agree on some of the behaviors that my children exhibit, but I want to understand why they did what they did. So you live in the neighborhoods. You should be members of your neighborhood associations. What did Muhammad the Prophet, prayers and peace be upon him, say? 7 on the right, 7 on the left. That you're supposed to know your neighbor, 7 neighbors on the right, 7 neighbors on the left. Do you know 7 on the right, 7 on the left? Do you have a relationship with them? Do they see you as something strange in this period of time? Engage them. Engage them in your workplace. How do you engage them? Exhibit the best character. Exhibit the best character. We've gone beyond the talking point in Islam. The best character. So, and then people will come to you and say, that individual, what's his name? Abdullah? Oh, Karima? They are very genuine people. Let me engage them. despite the perceptions that I was given about them. And I'm telling you, dear brothers and sisters, that it'll work. You know why it'll work? Not because the Imam said it, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said it. And that's why it's going to work. Here in the most diverse place in human history, the United States of America. No, I ain't waving the flag now. I don't want you to think and leave out of here talking about I'm waving the flag. When I'm telling you, I'm waving the flag of freedom, justice, and equality. Assalamu alaikum. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. I'd like to read a dua. It's very long in English. I'll do it. Oh Allah, help me to say the words of truth in the face of the mighty, and to refrain from speaking ill in order to gain the applause of the weak. And do not let me accuse my adversaries of treachery because their opinions oppose mine. Ya Allah, should you give me wealth, do not take away my happiness. And should you give me might, do not take away my wisdom. And should you give me success, do not take away my humility. And should you give me modesty, do not take away my sense of dignity. Ya Allah, teach me to love others as I love myself. And teach me to judge myself as I judge others. And teach me that forgiveness is one of the greatest steps towards strength. Ya Allah, do not curse me with arrogance should I be successful. And neither with despair and hopelessness should I fail. Ya Allah, remind me always that failure is the trial that precedes success. Should you take away my wealth, do let me keep my hopefulness. And should I fail, do let me keep the power of determination. And should you take away the blessing of good health, do let me keep the blessing of faith. Ya Allah, I have harmed others, give me the courage to apologize. And should others harm me, do bless me with the courage to forgive. And should I forget you, Ya Allah, I beg that you not exclude me from your mercy and your compassion. Ameen. Qad qamati salah, qad qamati salah.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Hayya ala salat, hayya ala falah. God come to salat, God come to salat. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah.
La ilaha illallah Muhammadan Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Stole. Nawaitu salatul Jumah. Allahu Akbar. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. إذا جاء نصر الله والفتح ورأيت الناس يدخلون في دين الله أفواجا فسبح بحمد ربك واستغفر إنه كان توابا. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar.
Sami Allahu liman hamidah.
ربنا لك الحمد.
Allahu Akbar.
الله أكبر.
Allahu Akbar.
الله أكبر.
Allahu Akbar.
الله أكبر.
Allahu Akbar.
الله أكبر.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. ربنا اتم لنا نورنا واغفر لنا انك كل شيء قدير. Brothers and sisters, please remain for the announcements.
تكبير.
Allahu Akbar.
تكبير.
الله أكبر.
تكبير.
الله أكبر. Assalamu alaikum. Certainly thank our brother Imam, Baltimore. Just a pebble away. Huh? So alhamdulillah, as we mentioned, we are going to have a shahada. We have our dear sister. We can get a mic. If Brother Yahya can bring the mic out for our dear sister. And this is one of the next generation taking shahada. You know, so they want to know about what's happening in America. Are we still able to have them to stand up for the Islamic life? This is an example right now. So our dear sister, Sister Najwa Ali, if she can put her hand up. There she is, right here. And in fact, Sister Najwa, can you come to the front? I just want the ones, you know, this is televised live stream around the world, so we want them to see also we have young people. And this is a sister. Brave, courageous sister. We thank Allah for her. In fact, her father, Kareem, where's right here? Alhamdulillah. Father Kareem, mother Felicia's mother here. Mother is here as well. So I know there's a proud moment for them. So Sister Najwa, if you can repeat after me. Yeah. Ashhadu
Ashhadu
an la
in la
ilaha
ilaha
illallah
illallah
wa
wa
ashhadu
ashhadu
anna
anna
Muhammadan
Muhammadan
Rasulullah.
Rasulullah.
I bear witness
I bear witness
that there is no God
that there is no God
except Allah,
except Allah,
and I bear witness
and I bear witness
that Muhammad
Muhammad
is the messenger of Allah.
is the messenger of Allah.
Takbir. 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 Our dear sister has just returned to the state internally as if she'd just been born to the world. Clean, pure. She has joined the body of more than 1.7 billion Muslims around the world. Dear sisters, please make sure you embrace our sister. She is continuing her education, and we expect her to be a strong model and advocate for the best of human life. Not just mention Muslim life, but the best of human life. We're very proud of you.
Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. Alhamdulillah. This is an announcement from the health team that I just received. The health team is going to have a meeting immediately after the Jumah. It's open to anyone, but Sister Saisha, I saw her sitting on the front there, so please get with her. I'm not sure where they're going to be meeting at, but she'll let you know if they're going to be meeting here or in the house down to 1505. So they're going to probably be in the back, inshallah. Okay, Brother Imam Earl mentioned about the African ancestry. We'll be doing that as part of the community meeting, the general membership meeting, this Sunday. There'll be a full presentation at 11 o'clock, and then for those who are participating, will have an opportunity to participate after that presentation. That's why we're holding the lunch, because you can't eat before doing the test. You can't eat and drink before the test. So we will have lunch for everyone after the prayer. So that'll be open to all. Also, we're going to have a show. We're going to be showcasing and hearing from our young adult, our school, weekend school right now. That's headed by Sister Farah, and she's here. She'll be here also with the school, so we'll be able to see what's been happening. I think they're about 30 or 40 strong. Been doing a very good, consistent program. So we'll see what's been coming out of that. And this is the catalyst to getting back our full-time school as well. And then I will give updates on the community, where we're going with the properties, etc. This will be the 4th annual State of the Community Address since our leadership here. Also, the Minaret Fund, we're still looking for donations and asking for those to at least donate $1,000 towards the Minaret Fund. We say Minaret Fund is not to build a minaret. It just we use that as a gauge. Once we get to the top of the minaret, then the call is made that we're starting the building project. So we have a minaret as just the gauge dial to show the money coming in. So it's going to be, we're going to expand this side right here. We're working with different architects. We have one we're working with now from Turkey. We love the product, the scheme that he put together. And he's ready to move. He's moving forward, so we'll be sitting down with him in the next coming days to give you, trying to break out the pricing so we can let you know. It's going to be about a $1.5, maybe $2 million project, but we're going to try to break it down, and as the money come in, continue the building. So we're going to start trying to break ground in the next 5 months, inshallah. But he got to do a lot of stuff to clear it with the city, etc., to do the kind of design that he wants to do for us. So the Minaret Fund, again, we have maybe 50 grand in there now. Some have paid 1,000, some are paying more. We ask them to at least commit to that to add to your Sadaqah Jariyah. That continues after you leave here physically. Your good record stays open, because this will begin to feed your soul and your good record. That Sadaqah Jariyah continuing after you left the earth physically and return. So contribute to that. Be among those to put your pledge in. Some have paid on it, and some are continuing to pay, and again, some have paid and are doing more. And so we certainly welcome that. We still have the Study Out Islam classes going. This is the only national program that's doing a conference call nationally as well as internationally on the 5 pillars of Islam that focuses specifically on the tafsir of Imam Muhammad, and it's the only national program that we're doing weekly that's also highlighting our next generation leaders, to include sisters. We have some dynamic sisters that are presenting, and they are next generation leaders. So chime in to this program. It's in the bulletin, the telephone number. Every Sunday, just 30 minutes of your time, 30 minutes from 10 to 10:30. So they don't have a lot of time, so they have to get right down to the meat of it. They're dealing with fasting this 5 weeks, and then they'll conclude the next 5 weeks with Hajj, and then we'll take it to another level, inshallah. We're having a journalism workshop here, February the 7th and the 8th. We have a nationally award-winning journalist that's a Muslim that's coming here to teach this class, and it's only $25. You can sign up by going online, or you can see someone in the office to make the payment of that $25 for that journalism course that'll be held here February the 7th, 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, those 2 days. And they're going to deal with just some of the things. They're going to deal with journalism code of ethics, basics of writing news stories, developing story ideas, basis of reporting, standards, elements of really good stories, interviewing tips, and writing a press release, etc. And we need all these things in our community, again, because the brother, he mentioned that we read the first 5, the first word is read, and it ends with write. Starts with read, but it ends with write. The first that came. So we got to read and we got to write. We got to write, so we need to learn how to write the things that get the attention of the people to make sure we tell the story before someone else does. We have to be out there. So $25, again, 7th and 8th of February. Hope to see many of you joining that class as well, inshallah. Still keep in mind we have the Shahada 101 course that's taking place here every Sunday at 9 o'clock. And they have Islamic studies, but it deals with the history of Islam starting from here in America. We go back, we deal with the American history here of Islam here as well in that course. It's about an 8-week course, and then they recycle that course as well. Please keep Share in mind. Share is one of our distributions that we have for seniors and others to provide groceries on a minimum just once a month. So we're asking you to contribute to that. It's $20 to make sure they get a groceries, two bags of groceries. And we need men, again, men to come out on Saturday. This time is January the 31st from 6 a.m. to 8 o'clock a.m. We need men to come out, help them package the bags. In fact, if you can get with, I don't see Brother Merriam, they go to the warehouse to pick the food up. They've been doing that for years. They need some help. Some of y'all should get with them and relieve them. Share the burden. Share the burden. They get the blessing, but you should get some of that blessing too. And then come back and help bring it out and package it up. They have to lay out the line and package up all these bags of food, and then they have to deliver them. Again, you hear that? It's shameful that we have seniors, 70, 80, 90 years old, downstairs with canes, bagging up groceries and delivering it to other seniors. They shouldn't be even doing that. We should be doing that and taking it to them. So some of you should be ashamed. You're not doing anything Saturday morning, some of you. If you're not doing anything once a month, they should have too many brothers to do the work. They don't have enough for you. So you should be here again, 31st, which is next Saturday. Please have a better showing than what we've been having in terms of men in the community. And I think we're good. Again, on Thursdays, right? We have a Talim that we're starting on Thursday nights after the Isha prayer. It is called New Millennium Talim. It incorporates science, and we deal with the Quranic ayahs, and then we show science from those who studied it and put videos out, DVDs out. And so we're showing 15, 20-minute clips of actual science and nature in motion, verifying what the Quran says, and then we bring out also on that the tafsir of Imam Muhammad. So all three of that is taking place. Just started the class. Who's the instructor for this Thursday? Sir? Who's instructing this Thursday's class? We have a different instructor every Thursday night on a particular topic. So call in, look at the bulletin. I think we should have some flyers up downstairs somewhere so you can see what's coming up next, so you can be engaged with those as well. And we're also looking for those who want to teach one of those courses as well. C. Hamza, he's the facilitator for that evening session. So again, New Millennium Talim takes place after Isha prayer every Thursday night now. And we just had the first one last Thursday, so it's in motion. And anything else, Hamza? I think we're good. We have the Muslim Journal subscription drive. It started January the 15th. Now again, this is the oldest Muslim newspaper in America's history. And we want to make sure that it keeps life, if you saw the current edition, the last week had in there dynamic statements about what's happening with those who have gone extreme. And then it had a statement in there from the Muslim Journal saying, if there was no freedom of speech here, there would be no Muslim Journal, which is very true, very true. And we need to keep that going. We took that to the National Press Club, and I think all of them had left. And people, news media took the copies. Others who from other particular interests were very impressed with what they saw, and they wanted to contact the editor to get more information about how to build on that statement that she put out there in other Muslim newspapers as well, and other newspapers. So that subscription drive takes place January the 15th through the April the 15th. It culminates the weekend. We're doing an event called NASEM. We're also doing a big fundraiser called Laugh for Education. We have a big comedy show coming with national comedians. It's interfaith, a national interfaith historic show going to take place April the 18th here in D.C. area. And we got Preacher Moss that brought a dynamic team together. And that'll take place. And we're also going to have the inaugural event of the new organization called Masjid. Masjid is an acronym called Muslim Advanced School of Jannah, Ihsan, and Dawah. We have a presentation on that Saturday at one of the workshops, and also there's been comments having a public address that Sunday, and we'll hear from a dynamic next generation young adult sister from Atlanta, who is also one of the spearheaders of this new organization, Masjid. So I think we're good. Assalamu alaikum. Hey, look here, look here.